Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are putting on our detective hats to go after a hidden crime, a conspiracy that happens in plain sight, and you know what? It costs every single one of us a fortune. So let's start our investigation. You've seen it, right? There's a new road, maybe a bridge, a big government building, and the final price tag is just astronomical. Now, you might just think, oh, it's normal delays or rising costs for materials, but a lot of the time, there's a much more sinister reason at play. That's because when competitors secretly agree not to compete, prices can get jacked up by as much as 30%. I mean, that is not a rounding error. That's a deliberate, planned overcharge. And at the end of the day, it's our taxpayer money that's being siphoned off. So what do we call this crime that inflates costs and just completely corrupts competition? Well, it's called bid rigging, and it's a very calculated scheme designed from the ground up to deceive. Okay, so here's the deal. Companies that are supposed to be fierce rivals get together behind closed doors, and instead of actually fighting to offer the best price to win a contract, they just decide among themselves who's going to win and at what bloated price. It is the exact opposite of a free market. It is a fixed game. And believe me, they have a whole playbook for this. They might use something called cover bidding, where a few companies submit ridiculously high bids on purpose, just to make the pre-chosen winner look legit. Or how about bid rotation, where they literally just take turns winning contracts? And the law is pretty smart here. It also covers other analogous practices, which basically means criminals can't just invent a new scheme to get around the rules. And listen, this is a really crucial point. The blame doesn't stop with the private companies. Oh, no. Any official on the inside who helps make this conspiracy happen can also be held liable under the Philippine Competition Act. There is no hiding behind a government desk on this one. Okay, so if all of this is happening behind closed doors, how in the world do you catch them? Well, like any good detective, you look for the clues. You follow the trail of red flags they almost always leave behind. This quote, it just perfectly explains their weakness. See, to pull off a conspiracy this big, you need a plan. You need rules. You need order. And that very orderliness, it creates patterns. Predictable, totally unnatural patterns that we can spot if we just know what to look for. So here's the first one, a real classic they call the merry-go-round. Does it seem like Company A wins this time, then Company B wins the next one, and hey, look at that, Company C wins after that, over and over again? Yeah, that's not a coincidence. That is a planned rotation. Or what about this? The Last Supper. You see a whole group of so-called competitors, CEOs, top managers, having a friendly dinner or a little meeting just days, sometimes even hours, before a huge bid is due. So what do you think they're talking about? The weather? Probably not. This one is just a dead giveaway, a jump shot. You see multiple companies all raise their prices at the exact same time, by the exact same amount, and there's no logical reason for it, like a spike in material costs. That kind of perfect synchronization, it doesn't happen by accident. It's coordinated. And this is how they share the spoils. The company that won the contract immediately turns around and hires the losing bidders as subcontractors. Come on, these aren't consolation prizes. It's their cut of the profit for playing along with the whole scam. And the clues just keep on coming. You might see prices suddenly become competitive, but only when a new outside company, a killjoy, shows up and ruins their fun. Or maybe the winning bid is just suspiciously close to the approved budget, a tactic known locally as tamang-tama, which means just right. You might also see this huge, massive gap between the winner and all the other bids. These are all signs that the game is totally rigged. Spotting the crime is step one. But step two is making sure the criminals actually face the consequences. And let me tell you, the law has some serious teeth. The agency leading this fight is the Philippine Competition Commission, or the PCC. They are the main authority, the ones with the power to investigate, to shut these schemes down, and to make sure there's a level playing field for everyone. And just look at these penalties. For a first offense, we're talking fines up to 100 million pesos and prison time of 2 to 7 years. And for repeat offenders, the fines just get bigger and bigger. This sends a really clear message. The risk is incredibly high for anyone even thinking about getting involved in these conspiracies. But wait, it gets even more serious. If the bid rigging involves basic necessities, we're talking food, fuel, things people absolutely need to survive, all of those massive fines, they're tripled. The law is screaming, if you rig the price of things people desperately need, we will bring down the harshest penalties possible. You know, in today's world, fighting crime isn't just about following paper trails anymore. It's about using technology to outsmart the criminals at their own game. So meet the PCC's digital partner in crime fighting, the bid rigging screening tool. This is a really powerful piece of software that's designed to sift through mountains and mountains of data to proactively hunt for the exact red flags we just talked about. And the process is so straightforward, but it's incredibly effective. Government agencies collect all the data, they send it over to the PCC, and then investigators just run it through the tool. The software's algorithms then automatically flag the suspicious patterns, the merry-go-rounds, the jump shots, and it points investigators exactly where to focus their energy. It really is a game changer. Now, the PCC and its digital tools are powerful for sure, but they can't be everywhere all at once. The single most effective defense against this kind of corruption is a community of people who just refuse to look the other way. And you actually have two very clear ways you can help. You can file a formal verified complaint, and that automatically triggers an official inquiry. Or you can send an informal tip, an email, a letter, which provides super valuable intelligence that the PCC can then use to launch their own investigation. Both paths are absolutely critical. And here is the information you need. If you see something that just doesn't feel right, if you spot any of these red flags we talked about, please don't hesitate. A simple phone call or a quick email could be the one thing that stops a multi-million peso scheme dead in its tracks. So, we've laid out the crime, we've looked at their playbook, and now you know the clues. Bid rigging is not a victimless crime. It steals from public funds that should be going to our schools, our hospitals, and to better services for everyone. The question now is, with everything you know, what will you do?